Welcome to our next episode of
Fandom
Family
Chats.
This is a production of Family Fan Clubs on Facebook. You can find us all over Facebook. You can find us all over social media under Fandom Family Chats. Look us up, get dialed in, get plugged in, and get ready to listen to some crazy people talk crazy stuff.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeanette.
I'm Eve.
I'm Shelby.
Tonight we are going to be talking about This Is Us. What is it? Season 6, episode 3. And then later we'll talk about 911 Lone Star. But first, This Is Us. And this was like, I thought this was a fun episode. Like we didn't see that many like of our characters in this episode, but it was really cool for the ones that we did see, I think.
It didn't feel like heavy. Like
yeah.
It was lighter and more fun than it has been in a while. So that was nice to see.
I agree. Like, you know, Deja and Malik, super cute. I absolutely adore them.
Well, I think Malik is just the cutest little thing. So
he is. He looks so young. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh, he's in college. Like he looks 12 to me. And I know it's just the actor has such a baby face, you know, but he looks really young. But no, like, and I'm Shelby, I think you didn't notice this either the first time that I was sitting in my head thinking, why are they letting her go to Boston to visit Malik? Because she's in high school. But then we realized later that they didn't know where she was going. She was supposed to be visiting her friend Tiffany.
it was really quick at the beginning because Randall said something about, you know, having a good time this weekend and you'll have your phone on you the whole time. So I don't know if it was explicitly stated somewhere that they don't know where she's really going, or if I just kind of assumed that she was going somewhere she wasn't supposed to be.
I should have assumed that because clearly like Beth and Randall would never let her do that, but
they like Malik, but I don't think they like him that much.
No, not to let the girl's 16-year-old daughter go stay at his apartment by herself. I mean, that's a lot.
Well, see, for me, so I'm really good with like facial expressions and like stuff like that. And I saw the look that Tess gave to her, and then she said like good luck this weekend.
Yeah.
So I think that she probably talked to her sisters about it, but I don't think that Beth and Randall knew.
Yeah, they didn't. And then well, see, I saw that too, but I thought, well, maybe I was thinking that she was planning on like getting intimate with him. And so I thought maybe that's what Tess was saying good luck about. But yeah, I mean, but I really enjoyed their time together. Like we met Jennifer, which she was exactly what I expected. She was terrible. And I was really hoping, yeah, at first I was like, oh, I hope like she's cool. Like, you know, I was like, maybe it'll be, because Deja was worried about her at first, you know, when she came back into Janelle. Is that his daughter's name? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she was kind of terrible. I mean, so as expected.
I had high hopes for her though. I was like, oh, maybe she's, you know, really good, because back when Malik said that she wanted back in Janelle's life, I was like, oh, well, you know, this will be good, but you know, no happy endings there. She was terrible.
I was and this might sound silly, but like in This Is Us fashion, I was kind of thinking that like Deja would walk in on Jennifer and Malik like messing around or something.
Oh, that would have hurt my heart so bad.
Yeah,
it would have hurt mine too. Like the whole time I was like thinking in my head, like, please don't let happen what I think is going to happen. And I'm glad that they didn't go that route. I'm really glad that they didn't.
Yeah. You know, I agree. Malik would never. Now, it did cross our mind that Jennifer would be trying to get him back. I mean, I will admit that I thought that possibly, but that wasn't even the case either. So that I liked that, you know.
Based on their attitudes towards each other, it doesn't seem like they're going to be heading in that direction at all, because she doesn't seem to be crazy about him either.
No, so that was good, I think.
Her and Malik, I mean, Deja, meaning her, Deja and Malik have a very healthy relationship for as young as they are.
They really do. No, I agree. I mean, it's really mature. I mean, even just, you know, a lot of 16-year-old girls would have been upset that he had to go finish his papers and couldn't spend like the day with her since she was just there for a day. But not Deja. I mean, she was just totally cool with do what you got to do, you know, and then I'll see you later. So
I mean, I'm 26 and would have had a problem with that.
I mean, I would have too, like when I was younger. I mean, I think now, like, I would be understanding of it. Maybe though. I mean, there's even times when my husband, like when he has to work on the weekends, and I'm like, really? Like, this is my time, you know? So, I mean, and I'm almost 40. So, yeah, I don't, it's kind of funny that she was so mature about the situation, but good on her.
Yeah, but I think that she knew what she was planning and she was like, you know, he's gonna get it later, basically.
I
Maybe.
gotta prepare. I've got things to do. You go do your thing.
Oh my gosh, that dress, how beautiful was she? Or, I mean, like, and then his word, what did he use? Incandescent or whatever it
Yeah.
was. I was like, I've never used that word in like
Well-
real life, but
Well,
man,
he is
a wonderful
he is an
couple.
Ivy League guy.
Exactly.
So-
Yeah, I didn't go to Harvard, so that's not in my vocabulary. But I was like, man, I want some guy to tell me that I look like that. That was awesome, you know?
She was beautiful though.
She
That
really
dress really
was.
complimented her.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I mean, she's come such a long way. I mean, not really, this is kind of off topic a little bit, but she's come such a long way from that girl that came to Beth and Randall from
Yeah.
her parents and wouldn't let her brush her hair. And
Mhm.
she, like, personality wise, appearance wise, like, she's grown up so much.
Yeah. I love Deja. I mean, I think we said this last week. I mean, she's my favorite Pearson daughter, I think.
Mhm.
I mean, I like them all, but I think Deja, I like her a lot. So,
There's just more of a storyline with her. They don't really mess around with Annie too much. And
no,
like Annie's just kind of just there.
I
And
know.
Tess has that other storyline going on, but she's got such an attitude lately.
Yeah.
I almost can't stand her.
We talked about this last week too. Maureen agrees. I don't, because I just see her as your typical teen or whatever, like not a big deal, but I know a lot of people have a major issue with her because she does have an attitude. I mean, you know, but what is she, like 14? Most 14-year-olds do, I think. So
Tess.
yeah, she's got to be like 14 or 15, right? Because she's a little bit younger than Deja.
I would say 14, 15 because I not significantly younger, but when Deja first came, I was under the impression that they weren't close to the same age, at least. So Tess has to be maybe 14 or 15 at the oldest.
Yeah, I think so. But so meanwhile, on the West Coast, we've got Nikki and Miguel and Rebecca preparing to take a road trip, which is super fun.
I
The
love
three of
that.
them are just comedic gold.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Yeah, I just well, you guys know I've loved Nikki from the start, but
Mhm.
this episode made me fall in love with him even more.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like I was talking to my mom because she watches it now a little bit. Like she's kind of like in and out. Like if she's up, she watches it, but if she's not up, she doesn't. And she said to me, she's like, "What's wrong with Nikki that he can't hold a conversation?" And I was like, "Well, he's been away from the whole world for like how long now? Like
Yeah.
he just doesn't know how to do that anymore." Like, and I think he's that type of person that just speaks his mind when he wants to speak his mind, like regardless of his awkwardness and stuff. Like
Yeah.
he just says what he wants to say when he wants to say it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's funny for sure.
I loved when he was packing and he was debating between different flannel shirts that looked essentially the same.
Yep. He wanted options.
Like,
And
I
then,
like options. I was like, dude, you don't have any options. All you have are flannel shirts that are different colors.
I know. They weren't even different colors. They were like just different shades of the same color. Like they weren't even like that different. It's not like we had a red and a blue one. We had like a blue and a light blue one, you know, like it was hilarious.
He needed options. Blue
Right.
or light blue. I mean, he
Yeah.
doesn't know until he gets there.
And him at the I guess it was like an antique shop or like a pawn shop or whatever, getting the old camera and
Mhm.
like how he looked at the price and he was like, "Oh my gosh, why is this so expensive?"
Yeah.
Like it was just so I guess it was funny to me because like a lot of times like pawn shops and stuff like that, like they do upcharge things a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like real life, like you kind of look at the price and you're like, well, why is it this much?
Yeah. Well, this was even like more of like an upscale, like, I mean, it wasn't upscale, but it was, not your typical like cheap old pawn shop. I mean, it was antiques and stuff, and it was just, guy was like, we don't really like negotiate prices, but Rebecca got in there and negotiated, which I loved.
Yeah, she was great this episode too. I was glad to see her more I don't want to say back to normal, but kind of back to normal, if you know what I mean. Because last episode she was like spiraling hard.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So the awkward dinner, that was the best.
Oh, I both loved it and was mortally mortified by it. I was like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? But like they got there, and he delivered his line. What was it? I finally made it to California, and boy, are my arms tired.
Yeah.
Which, oh my God, that took me back to like when I was a kid, because like my grandpa always made that same joke. So
well, he totally messed it up.
I didn't get that.
Well, it's because he messed it up. Like, he was gonna say like, it took me like 50 years to get to California, but I'm here, whatever he was gonna say. But instead, it's like he sort of flipped it to the whole joke about like, just flew in from so-and-so and boy, are my arms tired. But like, he mixed it up to where it didn't make any sense. Have you ever heard of that saying, Shelby? Like, I just flew in from, Boston and boy, are my arms tired. I don't know. It's like an old like dad joke.
Oh, like they flew with their arms.
Yeah. They literally flapped their arms and flew all the way to.
But he didn't say fly, so he kind of messed it all up.
Oh,
so
I just now realized that. Yeah, but it's Nikki, so it fit.
Yeah,
but then the sad part was that she was like, I'm sorry, who are you? I was like, okay, either they have the wrong house, which is going to be really super embarrassing, or I was thinking she also has Alzheimer's or something, and she just doesn't remember. But we find out later that she actually, they were able to jog her memory. But
well, I mean, you got to think, like, if someone that you hadn't seen in 50 years, I mean, like, I haven't even been alive 50 years, so I don't, but I mean, even if I'm thinking about like I don't know, some guy I knew in high school. I mean, obviously not like a boyfriend that I was with for a long time, but like somebody that like would they spend like a couple weeks together? I feel like it wasn't a long period of time.
It was a weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really short.
It couldn't have been more than maybe like 4 to 6 weeks or something.
Yeah, it wasn't long at all. And so, I mean, I don't know if I would remember it just by looking at you, especially if you're so much older. Like, I don't know. So I think that was pretty true.
And with Nikki, it was definitely a big deal because, events like that are really big to him. But it obviously wasn't as big an event to her. So it does make sense that she would have remembered it first.
Yeah. I mean, like Nikki's life, it's not like he had much of a life. You know what I mean? So like he sat alone and thought about all these things from his past, whereas she got married and she had a life and, she moved on. And so I could see where that wasn't like a significant memory for her until he had to jog her memory.
His comment at the dinner table about her deflowering him, I died laughing. Like I was sitting here in this chair watching it on my laptop, and like I almost fell out of the chair because I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. The look on her,
I think my face turned red. I said, oh my gosh, did he just say that in front of her husband? This is so weird.
Yeah. And her husband, I mean, I don't know, his reaction I feel like was kind of strange. Like he didn't seem to care about any of this. Like I think my husband would feel a little weird about like an old fling of mine like popping up at my doorstep and wanting to hang out for dinner and stuff.
We had Nikki, we had oh my gosh, what's her name? Forgot already.
Sally.
And then we had Rebecca and Miguel, and they're all, Nikki not so much, but like Rebecca and Miguel and Sally are all sitting there, and you can tell that they are visibly like very uncomfortable by this whole dinner, and Nikki doesn't pick up on that at all. And then there's the husband acting like it's totally normal. I'm like, is this a typical event in your house where you just have
Right?
random dinner conversations with strangers?
Which I guess we find out, that he's not exactly like an attentive husband, and it's not been a great marriage. So maybe he really didn't care that much, which is kind of sad.
That made me a little happy for some reason.
Yeah.
I got weird vibes from the husband. I
I
don't
did
know if it was
too.
just the actor or if it was like, because I really, really, and this is jumping ahead a little bit, I really, 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 really thought that after the whole conversation about the husband not really being the greatest and stuff, I really thought that her and Nikki were gonna get together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I was really like even like hoping for it.
Yeah.
Well, that was a big fan theory too. So
Mhm. Yeah.
But I'm kind of after seeing the ending, and we're still a little jumping ahead, but after seeing the ending, I'm kind of glad that he's not, because that whole vibe that he had with that other lady, I really like that. Like Nikki was like flirty and
Mhm.
I don't know, it was just kind of cute. Well, like old man cute, not like cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
but I loved Sally and Rebecca's little friendship
Mhm.
that
It
they
was
made.
cute.
I was like, I love this. This is so great. And then I realized that we're never going to see them together again, probably.
Nope. Nope, probably not.
They really did bond though.
Mhm.
Like a lot.
Yeah. If you notice by the end of it, Rebecca had her scarf off her neck, which I thought was kind of cool, that she was just like ready to like, let her neck show, I guess.
Yeah, I like the whole conversation that they had about getting older and like how things change and stuff like that. Like they kind of because you could tell like the whole episode, like Rebecca was really struggling with that, it seemed like between the flashbacks and stuff. And like it seemed like them being around Sally kind of validated Rebecca's, like feelings about it, because like knowing that it wasn't just her that felt that way.
Right. Right. I agree.
So speaking of Rebecca and all of her aging and everything, we got to see a lot more of Rebecca and Miguel's story than we've ever seen. So,
Yeah.
and I know that a lot of fans have been wondering
Mm-hmm.
about that, about how they came to be and everything. So that was really cool to see.
Yeah.
I loved that, especially Miguel's little conversation in the car with her. Like that kind of I don't know, like it wasn't that I wasn't a fan of them because I could really care less, but I always kind of preferred Jack. I felt like it was kind of weird that Miguel kind of swooped in and, whatever. But like that kind of confirmed the fact that like Miguel is actually in it for the long run, like no matter what. And I thought that was the sweetest thing ever. And then I thought it was so funny them making out in the car. Like I'm not usually like a big PDA person, but like when Nikki walked up and like they were kissing and he's like, oh no, continue. Don't let me stop you.
I thought that was so funny.
Well, he just sat through that extremely awkward dinner, so obviously not much really gets to him.
Yeah. He's funny. He does not pick up on social cues whatsoever.
Not at all. Not at all.
But I'm really hoping, and I don't know, but like last season when before it got cut short, we were told that we were going to learn like more about Rebecca and Miguel's story and like how they got together and stuff. And I'm really hoping that they still do that. I really hope that they didn't cut that out because of the season getting cut short, because I think that that's something that needs to be shown.
I think so too. I mean, especially after this episode and just sort of hearing, I don't know, man, just hearing how Miguel loves her. It's just, I mean, it really was so sweet to me. Like you were saying, like about his little speech, like her saying, you didn't get the best version of me. And I mean, I don't think he feels that way at all. I mean, we know that Jack is her great love, but I think it's okay for her to have two great loves. I mean, it seems like Miguel can be one as well. And so I really like seeing them together.
Well, when I was rewatching when Kenny's grandma was here, I noticed some things like the second time around and even the third time around because she watched it like in a loop. But like Miguel, I'm pretty sure had feelings for Rebecca when they were younger.
Mm,
based off of like the looks that he would give and like the speeches that he would give to Jack and stuff like that. Like he was very subtle about it, but just based off of like things that he said and everything, like I kind of picked up on, I think he kind of did have a thing for her.
Yeah. I always took it at not necessarily had a thing for her, but he wanted what Jack and Rebecca had. Because I think I think the relationship he had with his first wife was nothing like that. And so I think he was always just really, I don't know, I wouldn't even say jealous, because I don't think he was jealous, because I think he loved Jack, and I don't think he would have ever done anything had Jack not died, but I think he wanted that type of relationship.
And I think one of the beautiful things about this is that, he loves Jack so much
Mm-hmm.
that, he's fully aware that Jack is her great love.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that, he's not that I'm saying he is second best, but, he's kind of accepting that, like, he knows that Jack is the one. So
yeah, it's different, and I think he knows that, and he's okay with that. So I loved, was it Rebecca that said, like, yeah, it was Rebecca that said how she thought Jack would just love the three of them being together. And I was so happy she said that, because I think I said that last week, that I think Jack would just be so happy that they were all friends and doing these things together. I think so. I was happy she said that too. Confirmed what I thought.
It makes me wonder if Jack wouldn't have passed away if they would have found Nikki and like all of this would have happened, or if he would have eventually came clean or not.
That's a good question.
I don't think so, because I think without Kevin going to find him, it would have never happened. And I don't think Kevin would have done that if he hadn't been missing Jack in his life. So
because I think the whole reason Kevin went through all of this, searching for Nikki, is because he wanted answers.
mm-hmm.
But if Jack had been around, then Jack would have given him whatever answers Jack wanted to.
Yeah.
But I don't think Kevin would have done as much of a deep dive.
Right. I mean, maybe Jack would have eventually gone and found Nikki, but I think that would have been the only way that Nikki would have came back in their life.
Because I guess as far as they all knew, Nikki was dead, right? So there's probably not even going to be any questions asked regardless.
Right. Yeah.
And I even remember one scene where Jack mentioned to Kevin and Randall, because like they were going at each other. I had a brother, and we were thick as thieves or something. So I don't think it was even until they were teenagers when they knew that Jack at one time had a brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like a huge family mystery type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like not even Rebecca had any idea, I don't think.
No, because she was mad, I think, partially mad when she found out that he was alive.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what it seemed like.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think she was.
But what did you guys think of the flash forward at the end? We got a little bit of a surprise.
I loved it. And I mean, I thought, like you said, I thought it was going to be Sally there, but I really think I like this, because the Sally things almost seems unrealistic, because she is married. And I mean,
now that they've met, now that we've seen Nikki and Sally,
mm-hmm.
Come together for 50 years, it suddenly became so too predictable that they would
mm-hmm.
end up together.
Yeah. And seeing her and him, like, they were cute when he was young. But seeing like his wife now, and I don't remember what her name was. Did they tell us? If they did, I don't remember. Edie. That's right. Yeah. Like just the way their banter on the plane, I was like, she fits his personality perfect. Like, this is going to be great. So I was happy.
And that smile on his face was just priceless. I was like, oh, Nikki's in love.
Like, we've not seen Nikki flirt, but he was flirting, and I thought it was so cute.
Yeah, and the other thing is too that I really liked, he didn't separate himself back from the family again. Like in the flash forward, he's obviously with the family. Edie obviously knows the family because she gave Randall a huge hug.
Mm-hmm.
So like obviously they all get along, which I think is great too. Like that kind of because I was worried like when he said that he was going to go back to the East Coast because of Kevin needing help and stuff. I was half thinking like, yeah, he's telling Rebecca and Miguel that, but he's gonna go back in his little secluded trailer thing. But based on the flash forward, it doesn't look like that's gonna happen.
Yeah. And maybe he ends up not even moving back to the East Coast. I mean, maybe once we find out, I don't know where, I know Edie, you know, she obviously travels, but maybe she lives on the West Coast. And so maybe he sticks around, you know?
Yeah.
Or maybe he does go back to the East Coast and with her, I don't know. But I mean, he did mention that Kevin was going to need help with the cabin, and we know the cabin gets built. So,
what did Nikki call him?
Meathead.
Meathead.
I laughed at that too.
I love his relationship with Kevin because they poke fun at each other all the time. But I feel like of the big three, Kevin is definitely the one that he's closest to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like they get each other another level. Like they kind of keep each other's sobriety in check. Like, and even Kevin gets, Kevin's not as sensitive as Kate is, as far as, Maureen said it's like Jack and Nikki when they were kids, the relationship they have.
Yeah, I agree.
Like Kevin's not as sensitive as Kate is, so like he doesn't get offended by the stuff that Nikki says.
Right.
Randall's just kind of off doing his own little thing. Like he's not even really, it's like he's involved with them, but it doesn't really seem like he's really around that much.
Yeah.
So I think that Nikki and Kevin kind of need each other.
Yeah. I was gonna say Randall's got 3 daughters at home. He probably doesn't have time to really deal with much else.
Yeah.
He's got his hands full.
This full of women.
Yeah.
Strong women, strong independent women.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the preview for next week. Did you all get to watch that?
I don't think I did.
It looks good.
The thing that I think hit me was when Kevin and Madison were talking about, you know, missing milestones and whatever. And I was like, well, you need to romance her real quick before a book club guy comes in and sweeps her off her feet.
Yeah. Yeah. That made me sad because I mean, just thinking about like, you know, because he even said like, I'll be missing half of them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's true. But I don't know why it's got to be like that.
Because she said something like, you know, we can't be there for every milestone. And he said, you mean I can't be there for every milestone or something to that effect. And I was like, oh, let Kevin be there for all the milestones. Come on.
Yeah.
And you can tell, like, I didn't watch the preview, but just based off of last week's episode, you can tell that Kevin just wants to be a good dad. Like, that's literally like his whole like thing for his life right now. Like he just wants to be a good dad. And if Madison doesn't let him do that, I don't think I'm going to forgive her.
No, I agree. But the only other thing we saw in the preview was Malik's text message that was read out loud, which Randall was not happy about.
Gosh, I definitely screamed, ooh!
And poor Deja, she was trying to get it, you know, because I think she knew like something crazy was going to happen. But when he say like, it said something like, I can't sleep. The bed feels empty without you. And Randall was like, I mean, what? anger. Yeah.
So Randall's gonna lose his you-know-what next week.
He's not gonna be happy about that at all.
Yeah, because he's a little protective over his daughters. I don't think that's gonna sit well at all.
I'm afraid for Malik, to be honest.
Well, the good thing is that they have going is that Randall is in the public eye, so he can't really lose his crap. Yeah. He's got to keep his composure and, you know, do things by the book.
He can still
her
forever.
He could still scare the living daylights out of the poor kids. So
I wonder if Malik knew that she didn't tell them, because I feel like Malik is the kind of kid that would not want to get on Randall's bad side or Beth's bad side. My goodness, can you imagine when she finds out?
That's a good point, because he has a really good relationship with Randall. Like he highly respects him and everything. So I don't know. That's a good point.
Yeah, I can't imagine. And as mature as Malik is with him having a daughter himself too, like I could see him trying to be like, listen, Deja, like, I know that they're probably gonna say no, but you need to at least talk to them.
Yeah.
Because like he's been her kind of, I guess, good conscience in the past with them too, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly. Like he's a lot more mature than what most 18-year-olds are because of him having Janelle.
Mhm. No, I agree.
I
I mean,
agree. 'Cause I
yeah.
feel like we've definitely seen Deja at her best since she's been with Malik.
Oh, for sure. I think he's a great influence for her.
Yeah, and he had such a great relationship with Randall and Beth. Like you said, I can't see him wanting to be on their bad side.
Mm-mm.
So he might not have known. And I think he's kind of naive too. Like if Deja told him that she told them, then he
would
probably
just
just believed that she told him.
Yeah, probably. The other thing that was we saw like back in time, I guess, at the movies, Jack takes the kids to see a movie and Kevin wanders off. Which I'm like, oh my gosh.
So that's going to be a big storyline somehow. I wonder where they're going with that one.
And of course, here as a parent, I'm thinking, okay, you've got 3 little ones. Why would you? I know you can't be next to each one, but I would have set like 2 on one side, 1 on the other. Like I need to be like arm's reach of all of you.
Like sit Randall on the far side because he's responsible.
Right?
I hope that we don't go back to the whole Kevin was neglected thing, because I think we've kind of hammered that home, and I'm really hoping that they don't go back to that and like Kevin's left at the movie theater or something stupid.
Well, I mean, Kevin took off somewhere, so who knows? I mean, they're looking for him, obviously, but I don't know. It seems, I don't know. I would have never taken those 3 kids. I know he was probably just doing like a dad's day out, but what are those kids like? They're in kindergarten or something? Like all 3 of them? Just me? I don't want to do it,
Question.
Mhm.
Did they recast the little kids?
No.
Because the little Kate looks the same, but the other 2 don't look the same to me. And I don't know if it's just me or if...
No, I think they're the same. The same that were toddlers back when they were learning to sleep in their own bed.
I think it's the same kids, but they have seemed to grown a whole lot already. Because when we first saw them, they were maybe 3, 4.
They're probably 3, and they're like, that was like, I think that was 2 seasons ago, though.
Those kids are just 4. Those kids are so gosh darn cute. Like every time
they're kind of like growing with the show and like phasing out the ones that don't fit anymore. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I think unfortunately probably the young adult ones are the ones we won't really see any more of, because the ones that started out as the kids are now sort of the teens, so they'll play the teen parts anytime we need to see them.
Okay.
So I would love to see.
I was very confused.
Yeah, I would love to see more of the littlest 3 though, because they're just so adorable.
I think we will, because I think
I don't care what the storyline is. Just put them in there so I can look at them on TV.
I know they're cute. I like them all. They've done a really good job, and I've seen complaints that they don't necessarily look like themselves as they grow up. But I'm like, I don't really care. Like they're cute, and the kids do a good job, so that's really all I'm worried about.
And the casting when they were kids, what they were meant for, was on point.
Yeah.
You can't really complain. You can't change how someone grows up and changes their looks.
Yeah, and also, I mean, like, how do you get 4 people to play the same person at different ages of their lives and expect them to all look the same? Like, you can probably get 1 person, but like, you're supposed to get 4 sets of people that look the same. There's no way,
God bless that casting director, because they had quite a job.
Yeah. No, I think they did great. But I guess that is all for This Is Us. We're gonna move on to our Lone Star discussion, and we're going to have a special guest joining us in just a moment to discuss with us. Welcome, Tiffany.
Hello.
Tiffany. Yay.
Tiffany doesn't watch This Is Us, but she does watch Lone Star, so she's here to discuss this with us. You're welcome. Our Lone Star episode this time, we got a continuation from last week. Still didn't finish answering all, but I don't know. I feel like we still and just wanted to, we're dragging this out a little bit, and that's okay, I guess,
I told Shelby that I was stress eating an entire bag of popcorn, not like a mini bag, but like a whole big bag of popcorn. I was like, this is stressing me out.
It was a little stressful. I mean, the big thing, we'll jump straight into that, TK. We see them rescuing that little boy from under the ice, which, bravo to him, and the way he went out there and saved him. Unfortunately, fell in the water as well. And I was really annoyed with both Tommy and Nancy for the fact that, yes, we are doing a life-saving procedure on this child after we get him out. Why are we not at least giving TK a blanket or something to warm him up? I didn't understand it. It was
Thank you so much for mentioning that, because I was thinking, am I the only one who's noticing he's sitting over there, rubbing his hands and like blowing into his hands? I'm like, can you people pay attention? Like, he probably needs medical attention also.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not a medical professional, and I know that if he's been in that water, he could have hypothermia, which he does end up having. Like, make that old man that's, now that we're sitting in the car with the heat, take off your jacket and give it to TK. Like,
right?
Does anyone have a pair of gloves? Like, anything. Like
Anything. At least take his wet clothing off of him. It's something.
I mean, at least what Paul, well, we won't get to Paul yet, but when we get to him, he understands that when your clothing are wet, that you've got to take those off. Like, why do the paramedics not understand this? Yeah. It really bugged me. The whole time I'm looking at him like, he looks blue, guys. His lips are blue. He's rubbing his hands together. Can somebody please help him? Like, I'm glad we're saving the child, obviously, but yeah, so.
The only thing that I can, like, logically speaking, the only thing that I can think of as to why they did it that way is the kid couldn't help himself, and they thought that maybe TK could do that for himself and know what he needed to do.
Well, then he's an idiot. I mean, like, get yourself a jacket. Like, I don't understand. Like, say, hey, guys, I'm cold. Like, something. It really bothered me while I was watching it.
Later on, we find out that he removed all of his clothes, which was super confusing. They found a trail of his clothes. And I was like, what is happening? Like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to be upset about, naked TK.
It was just for naked TK.
But it was just really random. But we find out later that it's because he was burning up. So maybe he didn't even realize how cold he was.
That's true. And that's why it was probably on them, I feel like, to notice the visible signs, like, I mean, that he was cold. Like, or even without noticing signs, like, you all understand that he went into like a frozen lake.
Yeah, I mean, he was obviously focusing on trying to save the kid that he had just pulled out of the water, which everyone was focusing on. Yeah. However, they really should have thought about him a little bit.
I mean, put your hands a little bit. Wasn't there a lamp for those turtles? Like, put your hands under that lamp. Like, the turtles will be okay for a minute. Like, just warm yourself.
And I mean, dude was going through psychosis too. I mean, you could tell when he was in the snow, he was having like major mental breakdown issues.
Yeah. Well, they called it something. I don't remember what they called it, but it was obviously a medical, like, something that happens. Like,
that's what happens with hypothermia. If it gets to be too bad, it messes, like, basically, like, your brain is like frozen, so you can't function, basically.
So messy. But
Mommy and Nancy definitely needed to make some better choices.
I would agree.
Make better choices. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm still not completely sold on this new EMS captain.
Oh, I normally like Tommy. This is the only week that I've been like, what are you doing, girl?
I don't know. I didn't like the other one either, but I don't like her either.
Well, no.
Maybe
I like her.
Too picky.
I think you're being too picky.
The other one gave off a weird vibe, in my opinion. But then I was kind of invested in her sister's story, and then she up and left. Yeah. And now this one, I was kind of invested in like her husband's story after her husband passed away, and now like everything's Gucci and she's cool and like she's back to work and doesn't seem to have any issues at all.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Time has passed, so I think she's just moved on, with not focusing on it anymore. She's probably past that stage of grief anyways.
See, I feel like I wouldn't be. I would be a mess.
Well, it's been, but hasn't it? It's been like a while, right? It's been months, I think.
Yeah.
So I think it's been a decent amount of time that, she could get back to work probably, I mean, I'm sure she's not over it, but I mean,
So did I miss a
Ever would-
time lapse? Was there a time lapse or something?
oh yeah, there's a time lapse between,
Yeah, like, Grace is at the end of her pregnancy now.
yeah.
Mm,
So it's been probably 7 or 8 months, you know.
okay. So
Yeah.
I guess it's just operator error then.
That's okay. They
As
don't make
usual.
these things clear all the time. Like you have to like catch like the little stuff because they don't always tell us. I know it gets confusing.
Thankfully,
I
Grace's
know-
pregnant. Thankfully,
ahead.
Grace's pregnancy is a pretty good measure of time. So
And we can measure by Owen's beard, right? Because he's grown a nice big old mountain man beard.
I am
True.
not a fan of mountain man beard, by the way. Rob
I
Lowe needs
am.
to shave that off.
No, I'm cool with it.
Usually I
love
do not
him
like the
with
beards. I like the beard on Rob Lowe.
I'm cool with it.
Well,
I mean, I
I
was
guess
cool.
I'm in the minority then.
I was cool with the, clean shaven too. I mean, Rob Lowe is okay anyway.
I loved him in the cowboy hat too. I don't know what it was about the cowboy hat, but it made him very attractive.
It suits him. I agree. But yeah, so I don't know. We've got TK's in the hospital, which another thing that bugged me just a little bit. I don't know. And I like this episode. So here I am complaining about everything off the jump here. But like, when was it Tommy that was Tommy or Nancy, whoever it was that was talking to Carlos? Like Carlos, like I understand he didn't understand how severe it was right away, but he seemed super unconcerned with what was going on.
I think
Like-
it was Nancy who was talking to him, and I was like, well, 2 thumbs up for Nancy, calling Carlos, because I need to see those two back together.
Yeah.
But yeah, Carlos didn't seem that concerned. And I mean, he's not a medical professional, so he didn't really know, like, have any context. So he should have been more concerned than
Well, it's
anyone
because Nancy lied to him and she told him that TK wanted him to come in. So that's why he had that attitude when he came in, and then he found out
yeah.
that wasn't the case. But still, he was being like really, I didn't really like the way he was talking when he came in. Like, oh, now he wants me to come in.
I know. I'm
Come
good.
on.
This is what I'm saying though. I'm gonna go back to what I said last week, that if there's anything wrong with them, it's TK's fault, because Carlos, there's no way he did anything wrong. And that makes sense because it seems like he's mad at TK.
Mhm.
I think TK
Yeah.
messed up.
And for me too, like, the fact that Nancy lied about TK wanting him and stuff, which was fine, like it got him there.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like Carlos kind of has an ego on him a little bit.
Mm.
And
I love Carlos, so I can't.
I mean, I do too. Like, don't get me wrong, I do too. And I absolutely love Carlos and TK. I want them back together. I'm mad that we haven't figured out why they separated. Like, I feel like they should have gone into that from the jump.
Mhm.
But I don't know, like just the way that Carlos was talking and stuff, like even if you weren't told the whole truth or whatever, if you're going to the hospital for someone that you supposedly love, even if you are broken up, if you still have feelings for them, why aren't you more concerned?
I mean, I would
Like-
say even if you don't necessarily still have romantic feelings for him, if this was someone you loved, like I don't know. I didn't like the way he acted. It seemed off. It didn't seem Carlos-like, in my opinion.
Mm-mm.
And I
No.
mean, Carlos is a really, sweet guy.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't really have it in him to be mean. Well, I guess now he does have it in him to be mean, evidently.
And so, whatever TK did, obviously.
TK messed up real bad, and I need to know what he did so we can fix it for him.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't like being left in the dark this long.
No, they're dragging it out for sure.
Yeah, I got to the end of the episode and I said, oh my gosh, it's a 3-parter.
Yeah.
I was so
Driving
mad.
me nuts.
I swear, if this lasts the entire season like this, I'm done.
Yeah, I can't. Let's not drag it out.
We'll find out at the last episode of this season what happened with TK and Carlos.
They might drag it out. Who knows? Because it keeps us watching, right? Because we have to know.
Well, I need to know right now. So, I mean, the end of the season will not work for me.
I agree. It doesn't work for me either. Yeah. So here we got what, TK possibly dying in the hospital, and we got Owen living his mountain man life, taking care of that man that he found out in the snow. I don't know. This was all a weird storyline as well, in my opinion.
I'm very confused by Owen's storyline because it's like a random mix of people coming and going, and everything seems really disjointed. Like, I don't know if maybe I'm missing something and I'm just not paying attention, but
Okay.
it seems very disjointed what's going on with him, up in, wherever he is.
Yeah.
So based off of what I understand about it, and I could be wrong because I don't comprehend things the best. The woman is, I think, his girlfriend or like his boo thing or his next best thing, something.
I think they just met. Didn't they just meet like last episode?
I
Yeah.
don't know. They seemed
Did
a little
they?
friendly.
I think they did.
Yeah, because they introduced themselves.
They didn't seem friendly to you?
I mean, they seem flirty, but
they're definitely flirting.
Okay,
Yeah.
so next best thing. And then the coyote guy, the guy that he saved, is basically like the people that were in that barn later on are immigrants that were illegally like brought to Texas or wherever they are. And the guy that he saved they were calling him a coyote, but I think he must have been the one that was like driving the van, like bringing them or like selling them to the States or whatever. And then they somehow escaped and were trying to get away from him.
Yeah, from the very beginning, like from the get-go, I was like, there's something off about this guy that they're trying to help.
You know what I thought at first, and this is because, and I mean, my theory was proven wrong. Like, I think his whatever Shelby called him, his boo thing, like that his neighbor, like I think there's something up. She seems. Am I the only one that feels like there's something off about this woman? Like,
No, she's off.
She's
definitely
shady, right?
There's something up with everybody in Owen's storyline, just because, like I said, it's just so out there.
It's so weird. I honestly thought we were going to find out that like she stabbed this man. Like, this is what's going through my head. Like, and I don't know, maybe I've watched too many like weird movies, but like she was acting so weird and like asking all these weird questions about the guy that I thought for sure we were going to find out. Like,
it's not an out there theory because she does seem pretty sketchy. Everyone in his storyline is so sketchy. I mean, I understand what's going on. Like, I was following the whole, like, whatever it is we saw, but it's just seems weird to me that Owen's getting mixed up in these random storylines. Like, it doesn't seem like an Owen kind of thing.
It seems out of place, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel right to me either. Like, and I'm not invested in it. Like, and I know that's awful. Like, I don't care what's going on out there. I need you to get like on the road and go find Marjan and get back with the 126. That's all I need you to do. I don't really care about these other people that I don't know. I mean, it's just not an important storyline for me.
And that's how I feel too. Like, I'm more invested in like the Judd storyline and the Paul and like everything that was going on there. And like in my head, like I kept saying like, Owen, get out of your midlife crisis and go back to your people. Like now TK's in the hospital and Owen's MIA. They don't know where he is. They don't know how to get a hold of him. And if they kill off TK and Owen doesn't see him, like, why would they do that?
I really hope that's not going to happen. Like,
They better not be doing that.
I know people think that, but I'm not putting that out in the universe right now because I'll be really upset, to be honest.
If this show, Jeanette, turns out to be another Grey's Anatomy, I'm going to be so mad at you.
You cannot blame me. This is not my fault, okay?
You got me watching it.
But it wasn't doing this then.
This is what I was texting Shelby about. I was like, what is this Grey's Anatomy? They need to just leave our people alone.
I know. I think when I saw TK, I think I even said in my head, like, what in the Grey's Anatomy do we have going on here? Because like, I am not here for this. Not here for it.
It's like, we watch the show because it's not Grey's Anatomy.
Which the other 911 isn't. I mean, we don't see that happen like hardly ever. So it's just Lone Star that likes to toy with our heartstrings here.
Don't put that in the universe, Jeanette.
I know. No.
I feel like maybe the neighbor is involved with the
I really feel like there's something up with
transportation
her.
or something to do with the immigrants.
If she's not, she's involved in something shady because
She knew an awful lot about the immigrants, where they stay, how the operation works around there in the neighborhood, enough to, tell Owen
Like-
about it. It
like
just
she's
seemed like
the
she
whole-
maybe is a little involved somehow.
No, I was just gonna say, like, it might be that I'm like we ended last season with him accepting a date from his doctor. I liked his doctor. I was ready to see something happen with that. And then she's gone and we bring in this new chick that I don't know. I want the doctor back, I think.
I forgot about the doctor.
Yeah, they were supposed to go on a date. Like I thought it was gonna be something.
I vaguely remember that. I can't remember her face, but I remember that happening. So yeah, let's bring the doctor back. She seemed normal. She didn't seem to be involved in any shady crap.
Agreed.
I wonder, based back to what Tiffany said about the girl, I wonder if she's involved somehow and like she's trying to keep Owen close to her to make sure that he doesn't figure out what's like fully going on.
Maybe.
Like maybe they're gonna have Owen play superhero and figure out what's going on and like how these people are getting transported and stuff, and he's gonna somehow put a stop to it, and she's like the keep your friends close but your enemies closer type person.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the direction they're heading, then Owen's going to be wrapped up in that storyline for most of the season, I guess, because that seems like a lot, and I'm not a fan of it. I want him to get out of there and go back to his people.
I agree.
So Paul and Lindsay, I love that. I loved Paul from the start, and this made me love him even more.
That sweet girl. I loved her.
She was so hard on herself. It broke my heart.
Yeah, I agree.
I felt so bad for her because she's only like 16, and she's literally placing the whole blame on herself that she was stuck in there because she just froze. And I'm sorry, but that's a normal response when something is going down like that.
Yeah. Yeah, she was being way too hard on herself, I think. And I loved, the way that Paul kind of helped her out and, hyped her back up. And I didn't dislike Paul before all of this, but I didn't connect with him at all. Like he was probably my least favorite member of the 126, which I'm not saying anything because I love them all. But this definitely I like that we got to see him more and we got to get to know him a little bit more and his personality. So I thought that was good.
They better not kill him off.
I think he's going to be okay because we can't have him and TK in danger. I think he's good.
Or TK ends up being good and Paul's not.
Well, I don't want to say I would rather that happen, but I do love TK a lot. I'd rather them both be fine is my idea outcome for this.
Happy endings for everybody all the time.
I think he is good because I think, Lindsay ended up helping him out. When, so I think he was fine. By the time they got him out, they did the correct thing. They looked like they were warming him up and taking care of him and not ignoring.
They were paying attention.
Yes.
I liked how they did switch the roles too, because Lindsay, to start out, Lindsay was kind of nodding off and stuff, and Paul was like, no, you need to wake up, get your anger out, do anything you can to wake up. And then the roles kind of switched and she did the same thing for him when he was starting to fade out.
Yeah.
And my little heart grew 3 sizes that day.
Like the Grinch.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for Lindsay because I remember at one point she said, you noticed I was gone? I didn't think anyone would notice. I was like, oh honey, that's why everyone is there. They're all looking for you.
Yeah. If we notice though, that's on Carlos. This is why Carlos is awesome. He noticed that she was missing.
I liked when Paul called Lindsay his little fireball. It was so cute.
What she say? Is that a ginger joke? I thought that was yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that was good investigating skills for Carlos's for him too, because she's the one that made that list and stuff, which was great. It was good that they had that, but the fact that he got that she didn't add herself onto the list, that was very smart.
Yeah,
he's good at what he does.
He is.
Unlike some people. Nancy and Tommy.
Nancy and Tommy.
Not to mention
No.
any names.
They normally are, just not today or not this episode, right?
After everyone finally get rescued, Judd makes a pit stop at the 911 center for Grace. And that was the cutest thing ever. I love the man that Judd is.
I
He's the
love him
best.
even more now. I wasn't in love with him before, but now I'm like, oh, okay, I see what Jeanette's
See? I've been telling you all that Judd is the best, and
Jeanette was right.
Tiffany agreed.
love Judd.
I knew it. We always agree.
And he's gonna be such a good daddy.
Yep,
I
he
don't remember if
definitely
it
is.
was this episode or last episode, but when he was painting the little nursery and like he was trying to make the little clouds perfect, and I was like, oh, that's like every woman's dream. Like, what do you want in a man?
Yep. Yeah, that was last episode. I think we talked about a little bit how cute it was.
I cannot wait to see him as a daddy. That is going to be fantastic.
He's gonna be so protective, don't you think? I mean, just
Oh yeah.
like look
Yeah.
out. But just the fact that he brought her like the tea that she liked, even though she had other tea there. It's not like she didn't have any.
And Yeah, and she was like, you drove all the way out in a snowstorm to bring me tea. I was like,
Yep.
well, who do you think you married, Grace? Like,
Yep.
And then he even mopped up the snow and water that he got all over the floor.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Aw,
He
that's
didn't mop
sweet."
it very well though. I
Not very
really
well,
did.
no.
That was driving my little I was like, oh my god, that looks like my husband
But
will dry it up.
he tried so hard though.
He did, but he
She's
brought
like,
the
don't let
tea.
go of her arm because she's gonna slide on that.
Hey, that's what I was worried about.
Can we be
That's-
honest though? That's typical man cleaning.
I know. It's okay.
I thought that's what was happening. I was like, oh, she's going to slip, and they have to take her to the emergency room, and that's how that whole, baby comes into the world. But no, not yet.
Yeah,
Not
that's
yet.
what I was waiting on too.
Not yet.
But I don't know. I wish that, well, I shouldn't speak for everybody, but I wish that my man was like that because he's so attentive to Grace and he just he worships the ground she walks on. Like he's so sweet and such a gentleman and no man, yes ma'am. And I mean, I know it's a TV show and
That's
things
that's the
probably
difference there.
That's why this is a TV show.
Yeah,
But he's real in our hearts.
he is. Because Grace is also pretty awesome, and I'm probably not that awesome of a wife. Not like her. I try sometimes, but
Although when she did ask him about Marjan, and he's
Yeah.
like, no, I haven't heard from her. No one seems to be concerned that no one's heard from her.
Like nobody's checked. They knew that she was driving in a snowstorm to go check on Owen, right? Like that's what she said she was doing.
yeah.
Mhm.
So why is it not occurring to anyone to be like, hey, has anyone heard from Marjan? Oh no, I haven't. Let's try to get in touch with her. Like,
Yeah. That was driving me nuts. I mean, maybe you think she's with Owen, but I mean, wouldn't you I don't know. See, I come from, and they're in Texas so I know that they're like this as well. When you get somewhere, you text and say you made it. This is what
Oh,
you
yeah.
do. Okay, I
I
don't know
do
if that happens in
too.
other parts of the world, but when it's my family, you text when you get there. Like
Oh, I do that
everybody
too.
knows you're good.
Like I don't have any family here, but like I always text my best friend and let her know because
Yeah.
she's gonna be blowing up my phone. I'm like,
Even if
because that happened one time. She blew up my phone. I was like, I'm sorry, I was sleeping, but I'm okay.
yeah, I mean, this is what you got to do. Even when it's good weather, you still do it just to make sure everybody made it home safe.
But especially in a snowstorm.
Especially in a snowstorm.
Texas,
Right?
with someone who obviously isn't used to driving in a
Who's-
snowstorm.
Yeah, she's from Miami. She's never drove in a snowstorm before. Like,
And
I
she's
would
in a car that would be crap in the snow too.
yes.
Any other day, they would all be concerned about it. But no, giant snowstorm, wrecks everywhere, all this craziness. Oh, I'm sure she's fine.
I guess
Really?
it's got a lot going on, but still, I agree. I was like, I thought maybe that was going to be like what jump started. Like, let's find out what's going on with Marjan, but nobody's worried about it. I mean, we found her, or we get to see her, and she's not in good shape, guys. I mean, like, she's stuck. Like,
Was anyone else upset that we didn't see Marjan at all
yes,
until towards the end? Because we were halfway through and I realized, oh, we haven't seen Marjan. I wonder when they're going to show her. And they didn't show her until what, the last 5 minutes?
yeah.
And all they showed was her getting out of the car. and the
Well,
bloody nose.
she didn't even get out of the car though. She just
I
like,
think it's stuck.
yeah, she can't get out.
She got it open.
She got out of it. She was looking for Owen. She was yelling
Yeah.
for Owen, walking
She just
around.
got out and was yelling.
Well, clearly I must have turned off the episode a
Oh,
couple minutes early.
Jeanette and I
And
obviously
you've
were
watched
not
a
paying
different
attention.
episode.
I saw her like try to open the door and I saw her try to use her cell phone, but I definitely didn't see her get the door open. That makes me feel better. I'm glad.
Yeah, she got the door open and she was like wandering around the outskirts, like screaming for Owen. But they might have they might not have shown it, but they could have like tried to get a hold of her. But like all the circuits were out too. Remember, all the electricity was out. They didn't have any signal or
true.
anything. And if her phone didn't have any signal or if it was broken from the wreck, no one would have gotten through to her anyways.
True.
Another,
But the fact that they didn't even try.
I mean, they made a stop by the dispatch center. Like, take your fire truck out to Owens and check on her. Like,
yeah, another thing too is that I know Owen's got, a lot going on with his random, coyote storyline thing, but seems really off to me that he's not thinking, about Marjan, wondering if she's okay, because he let her leave during a snowstorm. And, obviously she has a mind of her own. Like Marjan is going to do what Marjan's going to do.
yeah.
But it seems really weird that he's not even that concerned that she left in a snowstorm.
Like I said, I'm obviously a fan of the show, but I feel like these last 2 episodes have been a lot of like the storylines haven't fully made sense. Like, it's been a lot. It feels thrown together. I don't know.
They need to start. They need to start wrapping some of these mini storylines up.
Yeah, I think I read an article that they wanted to have storylines that go like all the way through the season, but that's what I like about 911. That's what made me fall in love with the original series. That they basically are. I mean, there's a few storylines that continue over, but for the most part, it's episode to episode and things wrap up and it starts clean the next episode. And that's what I kind of liked about it, because it was different than like The Resident or Grey's Anatomy, We found, I guess we don't have a new episode next week, so that kind of stinks. But 2 weeks from now, did you guys get to see the preview of what is going to happen?
Yes, and it looks crazy.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, I had to think about it, but I have seen the preview. It's been so long.
I know. It feels like it's been a while since we watched.
So it starts off with Grace and Billy. It looks like they're at her house, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And she's yelling at him to get out of the house, and then her water breaks.
Mm-hmm.
So then
He
he
gets
must
out
be
of-
taking her on the way to the hospital, I guess. And then traffic. Like standstill traffic. Oh, that's what you want to see when you're in labor.
Yeah. I mean, she's going to, do we think, is she going to have the baby in the car, like with Billy delivering it? My goodness, the poor woman.
Oh,
that's where I foresee this going. Like, I feel like that's what they were hinting at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, kid, of all days to be born, the snowstorm was not the day. You couldn't have just hung on like a couple more. Kids, always bad timing, I swear.
Come on, give mom another week.
Exactly.
They didn't really give us a whole lot in this preview.
Mhm.
We know that TK is not doing real well still. We don't even know if they get a hold of Owen. I mean, they didn't really give us anything but a little bit of Grace and Billy.
Yeah, I don't think they will get a hold of, I mean, it doesn't look like they will get a hold of Owen because he's like walking out in the snow. I mean, and if the cell towers are down, his cell phone's probably not working. So that's going to probably be stressful. He'll probably show up by the end of the episode up at the hospital.
Yeah, I hope they show us more of what's going on with TK, because just the little bit of flash they gave us is not good enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little worried. Like, I would like to think that he's going to be fine. Considering, we've already, in the 3 seasons of this show, we've already had 2 deaths that were, fairly significant. I mean, I know they weren't like main characters, but they were, I mean, close, So I really hope they don't go that route, but I don't know, it doesn't look good for him.
They can't.
I don't think they can either, but I don't know.
Question.
What's your question?
I don't remember Did Marjan go up to see Owen because of what happened with TK, or was she going up there just because of her wanting him to come back?
She was
Yeah.
trying to kick his booty back to where are they?
The 126.
Austin?
Austin.
Yeah, Austin. Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember if oh yeah, because when she went up the first episode. So what happened with TK hadn't happened yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So she doesn't even know.
I think they're going to start making some headway on getting the 126 back, though, because
I hope so.
like when Paul was talking with Lindsay while they were waiting to be rescued,
Mhm.
and he was talking about missing Owen and how much he loves everybody and all the
Yeah.
people there. That's what makes it special. I think
Yeah.
he's going to start fighting harder for it.
I think so too. And maybe
It's-
that's what the purpose of this thing with TK is to just sort
Mhm.
of jumpstart everybody into like, and who knows, maybe we're going to need Billy to come around and not be such a jerk. And maybe Grace will get through to him here somehow.
Yeah.
If
I mean,
anybody
what better
can do
way?
it, it'll be
It's
Grace.
going to be stuck in the car with a woman in labor.
right.
Well,
She
I
may
was
be
really
telling-
starting to like Billy too. So like I was just starting to like him, and then he pulled that crap. So I was like,
Yeah.
no, you need to redeem yourself really quick.
It's been touch and go with him, I think, since the show started for me. So hopefully we're going to get back on an upswing to where I can like him again.
If
You know
anyone
what
can
I
do
hope
it, it's
for?
Grace.
Yeah. You know what I
Exactly.
hope for? I don't know if you guys have watched How I Met Your Mother, but when Barney got hit by the bus and he had like the whole revelation that he loved Robin, I
Yeah.
hope that's what happens with TK.
Oh, maybe.
Like near-death experience, you see the thing that you love the most, near-death experience.
Mhm.
He sees Carlos. Carlos is there by his bedside the whole time. Lovey eyes. They're back together again.
I hope so.
Yay.
That's
I
my
hope
favorite
so.
theory.
There we go. I think that's good.
I like that one. Mhm.
Winner.
I think that about covers it. I think we've talked about everything. Everybody tune back in next week. I guess it will just be This Is Us because Lone Star won't be back till the week after. But then, come back 2 weeks after that and we will be back into Lone Star and This Is Us. Resident's not back yet, right?
Hmm.
I don't think
No,
so.
they moved it again.
They keep
think.
changing it. So as soon
Yeah,
as
they've
that's
changed it like
back,
3 times now.
we'll be talking about that too. But yeah, so we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.